Good evening, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar series on PCOS and infertility. As we all know that PCOS is one of the common problem what we see in our day-to-day practice. And it is called, the PCOS is called the mother of all the lifestyle disorder. So today is a very important topic which we are going to discuss. We are talking about lifestyle management in PCOS. So, what is lifestyle management? So, when we are talking about lifestyle management, we are talking about nutrition, and also we are talking about the exercise that is coming along with the nutrition. I'm Dr. Shobna Patel. I'm the chair of Special Interest Group on Public Awareness. I'm also the committee member of the PCOS Society of India. We are talking about this project called as Vijeta, the Winner, which is an educational program by the PCOS Society of India. And this program, based on this program, what we are doing is we are running a series of webinars. And in season 1, we have taken up PCOS and fertility. We have 6 episodes in this season 1. And the first 2 episodes we have already completed. One is PCOS, how it causes infertility. And second, we had on diagnosis and investigations. And both were hugely successful. And we had a lot of learning happening in both the episodes. Today, we are talking about, we are in episode 3, that is, we are talking about lifestyle management, nutrition, and exercise. And we have the next 3 episodes, which are coming on 25th of March, 31st of March, and also on 15th of April. Please, all of you, mark your calendar. We want you to be here to learn more and more about this condition. So whenever I talk about PCOS, one thing which comes to my mind is PCOS is very enigmatic. And one thought which comes to my mind is it is as enigmatic as a Mona Lisa painting. You know, there are a lot of things we talk about when we talk about PCOS, and still it is an enigma. We have not really understood what exactly is the cause of PCOS and how we are able to, manage this condition. But having said that, to a large extent, we know how to control this condition. So to talk about this and more, we have Miss Ruby Sound, who is the co-chair of a Special Interest Group in Public Awareness. But before I introduce Ruby, I request Mr. Melroy to present this pre-poll. So we have a small survey, which is a questionnaire which you are going to play, and it will appear on your screen. And we request you to answer all these questions. And these are very, very simple questions. And you'll be given 35 seconds. And this is just to find out what is your basic knowledge about PCOS. So here we start with our first question. And the same questions will be asked after that. So the first question is, for women, the waist circumference cutoff for obesity is 80 centimeter. Is it yes or no? Okay, so we have 100% telling that the waist circumference cutoff for obesity is not 80 centimeter. Yeah, so we are done. We'll move on to the next question. Simple carbohydrates should be restricted for PCOS women. Is it yes or no? Read the question carefully. Simple carbohydrates should be restricted for PCOS women. 100% of the people say yes, simple carbohydrate should be restricted in a PCOS woman. Anybody's changing? Okay, the answers are changing. Now it's come to 50-50. Okay, we have another 7 seconds remaining. Let's see if any changes are going to happen. 60% said no. 40% said yes. Yeah. Okay. Now we have 40% who are telling the simple carbohydrate should be restricted in PCOS women. 60% says, it should not be restricted. The next question, please. Foods rich in fiber and protein are low in glycemic index. Food which are rich in fiber and protein, they are low in glycemic index. Don't worry if you do not know the answer. Ruby is going to give the answer to all these questions, but make a guess and please put it across. So 100% of the people say food rich in fiber and protein are low in glycemic index. Okay, now it's changing. 67-33, 50-50. Okay, so it is 60-40. 60% of the people feel that food rich in fiber and protein are low in glycemic index. 40% feel it is not so. Okay, next question. Peanuts, olives, almond, avocado, walnut, chia seeds are considered as healthy fats. Are they all considered as a healthy fats? That's the question. No answers. People are thinking, I suppose. Okay, 100% are telling yes. 50-50. Another 11 seconds remaining. 9 seconds. Is it changing? No, it is not changing. Okay. So it is 67% and 33%. These are all considered as healthy fats, says yes, 67% of the people, and no in 33% of the people. The next question, please. So it is recommended to include high glycemic index food for women with PCOS. Do we recommend high glycemic index food for women with PCOS? Okay, 100% says no. Okay, so 20% said yes now. 80% of the people are telling no. We should not include high glycemic index food for women with PCOS. Okay, now we settled on to 83% says no. 17% of the people say yes. We are going to give the answer in the post poll. So the next question is, weight training should not be done in order to lose weight. Weight training should not be done in order to lose weight. Your time starts now. Okay, 75-25, 67-33. It is 67% telling no and 33% are telling yes. Okay, so 7th question. This is the last question what we have. Weight loss of 5% helps in increasing the chance of conception or the woman getting pregnant among the overweight and obese women. It is good to lose weight at least 5% to increase the chance of conception. That's what the question says. 100% of the people are telling yes, it's good to lose weight. 75-25. Okay, so it is 63%. And so now we are stopped at 83% and 17%. Okay, so we learn about all these questions, whatever we have asked, we are going to learn in our session now, upcoming session. I want you all to relax and sit and learn about it. I would like to introduce Ruby. Give me a minute. So Ruby Sound is a co-chair of Special Interest Group on Public Awareness, and she's also the managing committee member of PCOS Society of India. She's a very renowned consultant dietitian practicing at Mumbai. And she's a founder of Eat Wise Nutrition and Wellness Clinic, Mumbai. And she's also the secretary of Indian Dietetic Association, Mumbai chapter. She is also a member of many national and international society, and she's a certified neurolinguistic practitioner. So I have great pleasure in welcoming Ruby. Ruby, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words of introduction. Actually, it's a very big honor for me to be a part of this educational institute called Vijeta. And more than that, I'm very happy that I'm working with Dr. Shobna on this same. And she's leading this project and under the guidance of Dr. Durusha. So I'm very glad to spread awareness of PCOS because every aspect of PCOS is equally important. And we are going to cover all the aspects, like Madam said. Today, the topic given to me is about nutrition and exercise, which is actually a component of lifestyle management. As you know, and Madam has also told this in the previous session, that this is the first line of treatment and it's been globally recognized by the International Society of PCOS that yes, you have to change your lifestyle before you think of going under into pharmacotherapy, means medicines and other things. So before we begin, I'll just briefly, take you through why nutrition and exercise is so important. Because we know that PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is affecting every fifth woman in our country, anywhere between the age of 20 and 30, is probably because of the poor lifestyle. Though we don't know the exact of why PCOS happens and why it's increasing, whether it is genetics or lifestyle, one thing for sure we know is that the poor lifestyle, wrong food habits, or being inactive is the cause of obesity. And 80% of the women who have PCOS have been found to be obese. They have a waist circumference which is more than 80 centimeters. So anybody with 80 centimeters and above is considered to be obese as per the guidelines. Only 20% of them are very thin. And how do you know that, whether you are thin or you're overweight or underweight? We have something called as body mass index, which is a mathematical calculation. So if you know your height and weight, we can divide that using a formula. So we know if you are an Indian, an Asian, so if your BMI comes to anywhere about 22.9, means anywhere after 23 is considered as to be overweight. But if the value is about 25, this means you are into obese category. Anywhere between 18 and 22.9 is a normal weight. So this tells you, according to your height, if your weight is so and so, do you fall in the overweight or obesity category? Now, this is very important because we as Indians may look thin. This is a very unique feature. Even if your BMI is normal between 18.5 to 22.9, you may still be having a higher body fat percentage. And that's really very sad. We may look thin, but we may have a higher body fat percentage. That's typically for any Asian. And how do you know that? Usually the waist circumference will tell you. Even if you're thin all over your body, but if your abdominal area or if you're like a pear-shaped body, this means your waist circumference indicates your obesity. So the question which was asked was the cutoff waist circumference for Asian Indians less or more than 80 centimeters? So the answer is yes. If you take a measuring tape and measure it around your navel, in the center of it, it gives you the waist measurement. Above 80 means yes, you have higher visceral fat, means inner body fat. We call it as charbi. In Hindi is on the higher side, which means you are at a very, very high risk of PCOS or you already have a PCOS. And majority of it is contributed to the kind of choices we make about food. And now our desk jobs are so common after COVID pandemic. Most of them are working from home. That adds to the problem now. And while we are working, many women may not have enough time to get food, carry food or cook food. So they eat outside food. The wrong choices of food, which is high in saturated fats, high in sugar, high in calories, which we call as ultra processed foods, are actually one of the reasons of having higher incidence of PCOS in today's life. And we know that if you are overweight, if you have excess body weight, then it is going to increase the insulin levels in your body. And over a period of time, you may develop insulin resistance, which is what Dr. Duru had mentioned in the first episode of this series, that insulin resistance is the bottom line issue of PCOS. Not only that, the androgen levels, which are the male hormones, also increase if the body weight is high. So any girl who is having PCOS and is overweight may find that her periods are getting very irregular. She may even miss her periods. And for those who are trying to conceive, they find it very, very difficult to have a child, and even after going on infertility treatment, they may have difficulties when they are pregnant. So the chances of miscarriage is very, very high, unlike those thin PCOS women. So weight is a very, very important criteria that we need to look at. So the most important thing is to change our eating habits and exercise. But lifestyle is not only about diet and exercise. It's also about how you think, your behavior change, your positive thinking, and how you have to change your habits, whether it is no smoking or no drinking or eating on time or eating less. All that behavior change is extremely important when we use the word lifestyle modification. And ultimately, our goal is what? After doing lifestyle modification, lose weight. And this is very important for anybody who is having a BMI of more than 23. All the research till today and my practice I've seen over the years that even if you lose 5 to 10% of your weight, whatever is your weight today, even if you lose 5 to 10% in 3 to 6 months, you will see a complete change in your regular, in seeing that your menstrual cycle becomes regular and the chances of pregnancy increases in these women. And how is that possible? That weight loss by only reducing your caloric intake. Whatever calories you may be consuming, if you are reducing 500 calories on a daily basis, you will see half kg weight loss happening every week. And that's a very safe and a realistic weight loss to achieve. So your diet should not be less than 1200 calories or anywhere between 1200 to 1400. It's a good weight loss calorie diet to achieve. So when you're planning a weight loss, it's important to keep these things in mind. And also what is important is what you eat. Ideally, there is no magic diet for weight loss, whether you're PCOS or no PCOS. A lot of people who try doing, quick fixes or do fat diets or, the shortcuts. Sorry, there is no shortcut to get success in life. Ideally, your diet should be a very simple balanced diet, which has foods which are low in glycemic index. I will explain you what is low glycemic index foods over the next few slides. Not only that, the type of carbohydrates that you choose in your diet is extremely important. All the maida-based products or the refined carbohydrate should not be a part of your diet. Only complex carbohydrate should be a part of your diet. Your diet ideally should be high in fiber. There's a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, which are fiber-rich foods. And not only that, the type of protein and the amount of protein, which is very, very important because especially when you're trying to lose weight, you want to ensure that you're not losing your muscle, your metabolic rate remains high. And to help you lose weight, proteins in your diet really, really help you. Last but not the least, the type of fat that you consume. You should not be on a zero fat diet. Good fats can be a part of your diet, but make sure that the diet is low in saturated fats. So typically, this thali, the Indian thali, is more or less a very balanced meal. Here, all food groups are present. There is chapati, that is cereal or the grain. There is dal, which is pulses or the proteins which will give you. You have a curry, you have a milk product which gives you protein. You have a lot of fiber coming in from the salad which here and some vegetables. So if you see a lot of vegetables and fiber is there in your diet. And also these components here in this plate are those which are low in glycemic index. So ensure that even if you're on any diet, especially for PCOS patient, do not eliminate any food group. Every food group is going to give you some or the other nutrient. Grains, pulses, vegetables and fruits are all complex carbohydrates, which one should take. Nuts and oil seeds, like all the nuts that so-called dry fruits, almonds, walnuts, are all going to give you a lot of good healthy fats. Milk and milk products are very good source of protein for vegetarians. It can be a low-fat paneer, it can be a low-fat yogurt or low-fat milk as well. For non-vegetarians, fish and chicken are a good source of proteins. Oils, the type of oils matter, but restrict to 3 to 4 teaspoons of oil per day. That is very important. And hydration is extremely important because sometimes, the person is not hungry, but thirsty, but we tend to eat food. So water should be a very, very critical part of your diet. I will explain you what is glycemic index of food because that's a critical point of our PCOS diet. What I mean by glycemic index, it's a ranking. Okay, like how numbers are given to something, like that every food has been given a number according to the glycemic index. That means when you eat that food, okay, it is going to increase your blood sugar. So imagine if you're eating heavy table sugar and if you're got glucose, if you take it, it's going to increase your blood sugar, correct? So this means it's a food which is high in glycemic index. Also, temporary rise in blood glucose level means it is going to worsen your PCOS. worsen your insulin resistance. Like, for example, if I said you take white rice or potatoes, okay, or white bread, the minute you eat food, within 30 minutes, 1 hour or 2 hours, it is going to increase the blood sugar in your blood. Okay, now that is harmful to you. On the other hand, if you take different type of rice, like the long grain basmati rice or the brown rice, or you take, any food which is not refined, vegetables if you take, okay, you'll see the sugar, the green line here is like slowly it is rising and going. It is not jumping like the red line above. All these foods which are going to increase your sugar slowly are called as foods with low glycemic index. And those which increase the sugar quickly are called as high glycemic index food. So now you understand those which are going to immediately increase the sugar are harmful. So bottom line is select the foods with low glycemic index food. So now as an individual, how do you know that which foods are better? In each food group, we can compare and choose the right foods. Anything which is white, like anything which is made up of maida, I would say, like the white bread or the white rice, the pav made out of white bread or the khari toast, all these things are high, which are to be avoided. Instead of that, buy anything which is either made up of multigrain or that is either whole wheat, or take anything which is made out of millets. So you can have rotla or millet bhakri instead of the rice roti. Similarly, all the available pastas, pizzas, and macaroni, which are made of maida or refined flour, are high glycemic index, which are to be avoided. So you buy the other available millet based or wheat based. Now, another confusion is among oats. Lot of oats are available. So which is high and which is low in glycemic index? Only the rolled oats, the steel cut oats, and the muesli with nuts is belonging to the category of low glycemic index food. All the instance fast to cook, prepare, instant breakfast item, rice crackers, cornflakes, white wheat flakes, rice flakes, and no. The sabudana, which you usually eat in during the fastings or navratras, are again simple carbohydrates. All simple carbohydrates are high in glycemic to be avoided. Similarly, you will see in each vegetables also all the vegetables, okay, all the vegetables which are non-starchy. So keep the potatoes aside, arbi aside, and yam as suran aside. All the vegetables are low in glycemic index, and so are the protein-rich foods. So all the protein-rich, all the fiber-rich foods are low in glycemic index. So one can take. Another very important comparison is about the fruits. If you're eating a fruit which is whole with the skin, this means it's a low glycemic index food. But the minute you juice it, whether it is a ready-made packaged drink, packaged juice, or it's a fruit juice which you make at home or bring on a Tetra pack, it is all high in glycemic index because sugars will jump quickly, which we don't recommend. Besides that, all the other drinks that usually people drink during the summers, the sharbats, ruabzas, are all, and even alcohol, they're all high in glycemic index. So these foods are no. Now going forward to the protein, as I said, protein is very important for both vegetarian and non-vegetarian, because as you start losing weight, you don't want your metabolic rate to reduce. You don't want to lose the lean body mass. So in that way, you have to include a lot of protein in your diet. For vegetarians, all the dals and pulses are excellent source of protein, especially if you sprout it and you combine it with a cereal like rice or chapati. It's also going to make it a complete protein. We always thought, dry fruits means good quality fats, but not only fats, they also give a lot of protein. So all the people, especially the PCOS patients, I recommend to start your day with the protein food in the morning. So 5 almonds and 2 walnuts soaked overnight will be a good start of the day because it's going to give you a lot of good quality protein as well as fats. If you're looking at milk and milk products, I would recommend that if you want looking at protein, then always choose low fat protein, low fat milk and milk product. Low fat milk, low fat dahi, low fat paneer, you are all getting, or you can make it at home also. For non-vegetarian, we know that, lean chicken, fish, eggs are a good sources of protein. So this should be a very important part of your diet. At least 20%, 20 to 25% of your diet should have protein in your diet. The remaining 25 to 30% should actually come from fats. Now, we know today that it is not the villain anymore. There are some fats which are healthy for our body because vitamin A, vitamin D, all these things in our body require fat. Even hormones require fat in the body, right? So healthy fat is very important. So if you look at certain fats which give you monounsaturated fatty acids, MUFA, and the omega-3, omega-6, which is PUFA, You can consume all of these fats in limited proportion, that is not more than half kg. So limit is how much? Half kg or half liter oil per person per month, means 3 teaspoons every day per person, not more than that. Even if you're eating healthy fat, you should have a limitation. So you can eat peanuts, almonds, you can eat avocados, olives, all the rice which North Indians use, the rice bran, South Indians use the sesame oil, mustard oil, are all very, very healthy fats. Also, the seeds which are very common nowadays, the chia seeds, the flax seeds, walnuts, are all rich in good quality fatty acids, which should be a part of diet. Not only that, for non-vegetarians, the benefit of eating fish is the good quality fats. What to be avoided for PCOS patients is these two types of fat. The fat which is present in red meat, in all organ meats. Coconut oil, I would suggest only a limited quantity only. Full fat cream, the ghee and the malai, which is made out of the full fat. Besides that, any packaged food which is loaded with trans fats and everything which you get outside, which is so fried and crispy, are trans fatty acids, which have to be completely avoided with all the PCOS patients. All these foods which I mentioned to you are all available outside, and we all pick up in the evening when hunger strikes. That's 6 o'clock time in the evening, and you can't think of anything but anything and everything under the sun which is unhealthy. So whether be it cheese dosa, cheese loaded sandwich, cheese based pasta, or the drinks, you can plan your week well in advance and carry some healthy snacks with you or pick up from wherever you are. Very easy to carry, loaded with nutrients, and still only having good fats and good quality protein. If you look at it, you can eat any fruit which is seasonally available. Eat local fruits. You can carry dahi from home, or you can buy from outside. Even chana and peanuts, the 10 rupee ka pudi that you get, is good enough to give you good quality protein. Nuts and seeds, a handful of it, about 30 grams. A lot of makhana in eggs for people who are vegetarian. If you replace these unhealthy snacks with healthy snacks, you will actually cut down about 500 calories here itself, which is a very, very big difference for those who are trying to lose weight. It's very easy to just make a healthy choice, whether you are at home or whether you are outside. People, as I said earlier, we have to make sure that low glycemic index, good quality protein, and low saturated fats. How do we change the things at home? Suppose rice dokla is made, okay, or your plan is to make dhokla. So instead of making dhokla out of rice, just change the ingredient and change the method of cooking. So instead of using rice as an ingredient, use moong dal. And if you sprout it, you can make a sprouted moong dal dhokla, which is more nutritious and healthier. Similarly, fried mutia. So why do you want to fry mutia if it's unhealthy? Just steam the mutia, add little vegetables like dudi or methi or any other vegetable of your choice. It becomes healthier. Similarly, chila, okay, if you want to make a chila, don't add cheese. Instead of fried cheese, add vegetables and some moong based in it. So you get moong chila. So the same dish, but different ingredient. You give you more variety also. So ultimately, all the food components should be given to you in your plate in the right proportion. Now look at the two plates very carefully, okay? Do you find any difference? Which is healthy and which is non-healthy? I give you few seconds to, try to understand the difference. You may say both the plates may have chapati is there, rice is there, vegetables are there, dal is there, most of the food groups are there. So which is right and which is wrong? For a person who is insulin resistant and who is their PCOS or is likely to be pre-diabetic in later years of your life, the plate on the right hand side is completely different from the left hand side. Now the difference here is the quantity or the proportion of carbohydrates. Look at the plate on your left. Half the plate is filled with chapati, okay, or a thepla and some rice. Now that increases the amount of carbohydrates along with some dal which is present here. If you look at the plate here, only 1/4 means little, the rice amount is less. The chapati is not full. The chapati is only half, plus a little bit of potato. This only 1/4 of the plate is full with carbohydrates. Remaining half of the plate is full with vegetables, the raw vegetables of salad and some cooked vegetables. Whereas on the left hand side, there are only 3-4 pieces of kakadi and small katori of vegetable. So if you are dealing with PCOS, make sure when you sitting in front of you, your plate should have all 4 corners, 1 corner carbohydrates, half plate should be vegetables, and remaining 1/4, which is 25% of a plate, either dahi or some non-vegetarian or protein or soya chunks to fill as protein gap. This is the best way to know whether you're eating right or wrong. The another important way to know what you're eating right or wrong is by reading the nutrition label. I'm giving an example here. You may say, okay, madam has said brown bread is, low in glycemic index. Is that the correct food to eat? But be very wise. Read the label which is behind. So when you take a product in your hand, turn behind and see the small box here and the ingredients here. Read this. Refined wheat flour 49% and wheat flour 5% and then sugar. Remember, on any label, the first three ingredients are the ones which become the major part of the product. So this is actually, though it is brown bread, but it is actually maida based bread. Refined wheat flour is maida, 50%. Wheat flour is only 5%, and then comes sugar. Baki sab uske baad mein. So whenever you do shopping for any product which is ready to eat, please read the nutrition label and make a wise decision. Besides all this, I want to emphasize, especially this point for those who are trying to, become pregnant. Limiting yourself to 2 cups of coffee is extremely important, especially if you are undergoing a fertility treatment or you are pregnant already. It's better to restrict to that. And whether you are or you're not pregnant or you're trying to conceive, please refrain from smoking and alcohol. And it's a complete, there's no allowance or no space for it. So especially alcohol, PCOS worsens because of alcohol, because it's an empty calorie, is only going to worsen your insulin resistance. So these three things I need to emphasize, especially for people who are planning to conceive in near future. Well, I think food is not enough if you are not physically active. So exercise is very active. It's not only that going to a gym or doing any exercise is important. You have to be very active. Ultimately, what happens is whatever food you have consumed, if you do not utilize it, if your body doesn't utilize it, the muscles don't utilize it, it's going to get stored as fat. If you are moving around, if you're active, all the carbohydrates, all the proteins and fats are going to get used. So your insulin resistance will be taken care of. So be active, okay? You need not always, take your lift or escalators. Whenever possible, please take the scale. Suppose if you have to go on the 4th floor or 6th floor, you can't go walking 6th floor. Go walking till 2 floors. Remaining, you take your escalator or a lift. So walk a little bit, take escalator a little bit. Park a car further. Or if you have parked in the parking lot, and so just going and walking into the office or the mall or your building, just take 2 rounds and then enter the place. Okay? Walk, sit less and move more. We now call sitting is the new smoking because it's as harmful as smoking. So just be active because all that insulin resistance will be taken care of if you remain active. But some of you are lucky to do exercise, and some of you are trying to lose weight or overweight or obese, have to exercise. There's no other choice. So what kind of activity and exercise is the best for you? Anything which involves your cardiac activity like running, jogging, or walking on the treadmill, or even if you join a class, a dance class, a Zumba class, an aerobics class, you're doing cardio activity. This means your heart is burning more, and ultimately you tend to burn more fat. That is one type of activity. What more you need to do is do weight training. Anything which you do with your weights, whether it is using these weights that this woman is holding in her hand, or your own body weight, which is seen in this picture, you're ultimately doing weight training, which is strength training, strengthening your muscles. That is very, very important. So only burning fat is not going to happen through cardio. You need to combine this with weight training that will burn more fat over a less period of time. And for you to able to do both cardio and weight training, you definitely need to make your muscles more and more flexible so that there are no injuries and you can do better. So either you can do these stretching exercises, or you can join a Pilates club, which is now very easily available, or you can do yoga or, warm up and cool down exercises together. If you do all different types of activities, you will be able to lose weight. So the weight training and aerobic put together, in only one will not give you weight loss. Put together, you will be able to lose weight. Okay. Now, besides that, let me tell you, or if how much to do, that was what to do. Now, let me tell you how much to do what. Okay. There are some activities which are very light. So these are the guidelines given by the International Society, which I'm sharing with you. If you are a person who does very light activity, for whatever reason, either you can't walk or you don't have time or you have other commitments, if you're just walking in the garden, or you're taking your dog for a walk, or you buy grocery while you're coming back home, or walk from your office, or just simply do yoga, this is light activities. You have to do this not only for 10-15 minutes, but complete 60 minutes every day to lose weight. But if you are going to maintain your weight and not allow, suppose you're a lean patient and you don't want your weight to go up, just maintain it, then 45 minutes is enough. But it is very important to be active throughout the day, 60 minutes. Now, the best part is you need not do 60 minutes at one step. Okay, you can do 20, 20, 20 minutes also, or 10, 10, 10. So finish your food and walk for 10 minutes. So breakfast, lunch and dinner. Even if you walk 10, 10 minutes after 3 meals, 30 minutes you walk there, and the remaining 30 minutes you can go down, go for a walk, or walk from your office to station or from station to your house. You can do any kind of walking wherever possible. But make sure all 6 days you are doing this. But in addition, 2 times a week you should be doing any kind of weight training, which I showed you earlier. Now, if you are involved in, you go for a walk on a walking path, or you do any dancing, or you're joining any club, or you're swimming, okay, or any kind of rigorous, a moderate activity, okay, fast running, then 45 minutes is enough for you to lose weight, and 20 minutes enough to maintain your weight if you're doing this kind of activity. But if you're involved in a rigorous activity, like, you are jumping the ropes, you're riding bike for a long period of time, or even if you're swimming for like hour or two, that kind of rigorous activity, then even 20 minutes every day is good enough. So how much of activity you are able to do, you need to decide how much time I need to spend. But in addition to this, I will still repeat, please do weight training at least 2 times a week. That will help you. Whether it is strength training yoga, whether it's strength training aerobic activity, I would highly recommend and suggest to do yoga. Not only because it's going to increase your flexibility, it will also reduce a lot of your stress, okay? Because of PCOS. PCOS also has a lot of psychological impact. Yoga will help you doing this, It will balance a lot of your hormones because your cortisol levels will go down, or your happy hormones will increase. So it balances the hormones, and balancing hormones means improving your menstrual cycles, and which is going to stimulate your blood flow. And especially when having periods, if you're not able to do any other exercises, best is to do yoga. Do breathing exercises, do pranayams, especially for those who are trying to, get pregnant. You may be undergoing a fertility treatment also. Yoga really, really helps. And if luckily where you get pregnant very soon, all your pregnancy related outcomes will be very good. So some yoga exercise which I would recommend is to practice wherever your pelvic region, where your uterus is, where your reproductive system is, wherever you're able to, give a good stretch to that particular area is what asana you should be doing. So whether it is Titli asana, where you sit here and you flap your legs, okay, it improves the blood flow in the pelvic area. You do a Shalbhasana. Again, you're doing a complete stretch in your lower abdomen to your upper thighs. Balasana opens your pelvic and thigh muscle. Extremely important even to de-stress. So when you go down to the earth, you're also, giving, showing gratitude. So it really helps in relieving stress also. Vajrasana is like a meditative pose, though it may not stretch your lower pelvic wall, but this helps in relieving stress also. Bhujangasana, as you can see, again, the lower abdominal is the focus. It really helps you. Padmasana, again, a meditative pose and very, very peaceful, helps you in balancing your hormones. Last but not the least is Vipirata Karina. Again, this is also focusing on the blood flow in the mid portion of your body. So in addition to these, you can do many other exercises, but these are basic exercises of yoga, which you can, check a YouTube video, or you can take a picture of this and learn the correct form and do this every day, at least for 10 to 15 minutes. It will really, really make a big difference. This brings me to the last slide. So whether it is diet or exercise, one thing you must understand is that only eating nutritious food will not keep your body healthy. You need to be calm. Whatever is your goal, whether it's to reverse PCOS, whether it is to, conceive a child, you have to de-stress yourself. And the best form is by doing yoga asanas, pranayams, and meditation. And which is very, very uncommon today, but we must try to have an undisturbed sleep for at least 7 hours, for which we must all keep the phones away at least 1 hour before we go to bed. Okay, that is extremely, extremely important. Another techniques of relaxing could be do anything which that you love to do it, whether you love singing in your free time or painting or just, watering your plants or doing some kind of a DIY or just speaking to your family members or going out for a vacation. Anything which keeps you, away from your social media world. okay, which is only you and your hobby. It really de-stresses you in a lot way. And that's why you're keeping your phones and, not watching Netflix late nights. All these things have a great impact on your hormonal system. Ultimately, you need to think positive and you need to be very, very optimistic that yes, you will lose weight and you will get what you want. So I come to the end of the slide by, just sharing that we know that yes, food is very important. It is a necessity to survive. Everybody eats. You eat, I eat, all of us eat. We eat from the time we are born till the time we're dead. Okay. But eating intelligently is an art. Okay. So what we eat, how much we eat, when do I eat, and how we eat, and how with whom do we eat. Okay. These are the few things that we have to change and learn over a period of time. So today, whatever I could help you with, if you could gain that or learn that art by yourself, or if I could help you learn that a little bit, I think we will be able to, uh, win the battle over PCOS. With these last words, I thank everybody for the patience hearing, and I will request Dr. Shobna to come back and address the gathering.
Thank you, Ruby. That was such a wonderful presentation. So much we learned. So much we learned. It appears so very simple that we are doing this, but then when we heard you, we learned like so much is there in eating. Truly, it is an art. That I really like that. What you told in the end, to eat is a necessity, but eat intelligently is an art. Yeah, we have to be really artistic to know what to eat. And no wonder, like we always say this, we are what we eat, right? And I really like that, illustration, what you put, my plate. That was beautiful. Like, it looked same actually, but when we really looked into that different components and how much it is present, I mean, it makes a huge difference. And also, like, it is very important that you told us, like, it is important to look at the nutritional label of the packet, whatever we are buying. And first three things, what is that we need to see? And it may say as a brown bread, but the content, it may still contain maida. Right? That's what you told us. And you also emphasized on how not only food, the exercise is also very important. And we say, right, use it or lose it. You either use your muscle or you lose your muscle. And every part of the body has to be moved. If you don't use it, you will definitely lose it. And also you emphasized on how, the strength training. People think like muscle building is only for men. They want to build the muscle, so they do that resistant training and all that. It is so very false. And we all know that women also need to do the strength training exercise. It's so important, more so as the age advances, because you lose your lean body mass. Right. So it is so important to do the strength training exercise. And finally, you ended with telling that, resting and relaxing is also important. Okay. Food is important. Your exercise is important, and rest and relaxation, meditation. These are all that holistically, like how you can, improve your lifestyle. Thank you so very much, Ruby. So I think a lot of questions are coming up, and I have one question which will start from my side. I'll start with one question. So we are hearing a lot about this intermittent fasting, right? Many of my colleagues also are telling like, no, I'm doing intermittent fasting, I'm losing weight. And, can you throw some light on what is this intermittent fasting? Is it now it's a Western culture, it's coming into India, or India, it is already present? Now we are, it has come through a Western side now. What is it? What is this intermittent fasting about?
So, ma'am, thank you so much for putting that question, because the question is it a fad diet or does it really work? So, luckily, this is what Indians have been doing over so many years. In so many religions in India, people have been eating a little early, till 6 o'clock only. Jainism, especially, they don't eat after that. Okay, so they are doing a little bit of fasting. Okay, not throughout the day. And during certain, religious fast, like how Navratri and everything, we are doing fastings. Okay, fastings are different types. Basically, any type of fasting, intermittent fasting or anything, it is not what you are eating, but the time of eating. Okay, it doesn't tell you what it is. So, intermittent fasting, you are eating for certain hours. The most successful is 18 and 6 hours. So, you are getting a window where you can eat for 8 and 16. So, you get 8 hours window where you can eat, and 16 hours you are not going to eat. So, what happens is the food that you select in these 8 hours actually decides whether you're going to lose weight or not. Because the theory, scientifically, what happens is every time that I eat food, my body is going to produce insulin and the digestion will become. So more number of hours I'm going to eat, more amount of insulin will be present, which is a challenge in PCOS patients. Already they are insulin
Correct.
resistant. So much of
Correct.
insulin there. So if you restrict yourself to an intermittent fasting of 8 hours of eating and remaining hours of fasting, the insulin spike will be less number of times. Okay, and that is going to stabilize your hormones and stabilize your glucose level in the body. So intermittent fasting has worked for a lot of our patients, helps in losing weight also. But it should not be so strict that you are not able to follow it over a long period of time. If you wake up in the morning until if you do early dinner, automatically it becomes an intermittent fasting.
Okay.
If you finish your meal at 6 o'clock.
So do you recommend that they must see a dietitian or consult a nutritionist and then do? Depending on their
always
condition,
advisable.
It's always advisable. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you need to check other conditions. Suppose if you're already on a medicine, okay. Now some of our PCOS patients may be on a tablet which is metformin.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or some there are many other patients which may be on insulin also. Okay.
Yeah.
PCOS patient who is now having gestational diabetes during pregnancy, and she's taking any which is fasting is not allowed during pregnancy. But if you're already taking metformin, your sugars usually drop in some patients. So you can't take a tablet at 8 p.m. when you're not going to eat food. You need to talk to your doctor, your dietitian, to adjust your dose before you plan to have intermittent fasting in your routine. That's very important.
Very, very important to understand that if you're already on any medication, before doing intermittent fasting, please consult your nutritionist and then take a call. Okay. So there's a question which is asking you which exercise is good? Aerobic, anaerobic, yoga, Zumba, swimming, horse riding. Which is the one which is the best of all? So that you tell me one, I can do that. Is it anything like that?
One which you can do every day.
Anything you can do.
Anything you can do regularly is the best exercise.
Okay.
If you go to the swimming and do only for one weekend, then you are never going back. Or you just went for horse riding one day, never do that, it's wrong. Even walking, any exercise that you have to do every day consistently is right. But you have to combine any aerobic activity, like I said, walking or running or one of these or walking on the treadmill with any strength training. At home also use the bottles to do strength training or use a TheraBand or any band to do stretching. That combination works. So you need to do both strength training and aerobic activity. Cardio can be anything. You can go for dancing, jumping, but you need to combine both ultimately. At least 2 days a week.
Yeah, the point to be noted, all of you who are listening, it should be exercise. It should include strength training as well, resistance training, strength training, what we are talking, along with your aerobic exercise. You should combine this also. Right, Ruby, and there's a question which is telling that I am going for a walking every day for 30 minutes. Okay, and then I'm on diet also, but still I'm not losing weight. And she says that she goes for a walk for 30 minutes daily, but she's not losing weight. And she says she doesn't, and she's aware of her eating habits. So what do you advise her?
So at times it's possible that the diet is followed accurately. Now, weight loss happens when the input is less and the output is more. Okay. Suppose if you're eating 1,000 or 1,200 calories, but your output is less. So if she's walking 30 minutes, ideally, if you look at weight loss, you should be walking at least for 60 minutes every day to get the weight loss. Now, she's walking only for 30 minutes. So I would recommend you, madam, to increase from 30 minutes to 60 minutes to come in that fat burning zone and lose more calories. And that is not sufficient. You will have to give at least 20 minutes to strength training or weight training at least 2 times a week. Only then you will be able to burn more as compared to what you eat. So burning out is more, should be more than what you consume. So I think you have to do these modifications in your exercise.
Okay. So there's a question here. Are there any specific exercise and diet to reduce belly fat? This is one of the biggest problem what we see, belly fat. How is there any specific diet or an exercise to reduce the belly fat?
Now here I want to emphasize on 2 points. One, what is belly fat? Belly fat is indicative that you are likely to be insulin resistant. So which I showed you 80 centimeters is Correct. Where we actually locate the belly fat. So belly fat means high body fat percentage. Okay. That is the first thing I want to discuss. Second thing, there is no exercise or no food in the world which is going to target only one organ of your body. I cannot eat food to become more chubby or my hand should become big or my legs. So when you do any form of exercise, okay, it is going to work on all the muscles of your body. But for some people, the effect is seen early. For some people, you may start looking more thin from the face. Some
Okay.
may start losing from the arms. Some may shrink the breast. In some, it will shrink the hips. So there is no special food. But because it is a sign of insulin resistance, whatever diet I told you, a low carbohydrate diet which is high in complex carbs with low simple carbohydrates, and especially low glycemic index, will work on your visceral fat. And that's an intermittent fasting works a lot, ma'am, because what happens is
Okay. Okay.
fasting creates pancreatic and visceral loss. So intermittent fasting may help you a lot in reducing the belly fat and visceral fat. You can try that.
Okay. Thank you. So is gluten-free diet good for health?
I'll tell you, this is good only for
Gluten-free.
those. Yeah, it is good only for those who are, sensitive to gluten or who are gluten intolerant. Only
Mm-hmm.
for those people, it is the ideal diet.
Mm-hmm.
And some say that, okay, gluten causes inflammation, but there is no scientific evidence so far that only because of gluten, there is inflammation. You may be on a gluten-free diet, but if you're smoking, then you're still getting,
Mm-hmm.
a difficult situation. So, gluten-free diet only helps in one thing: you reduce your carbohydrate intake and you switch over to millets, which are gluten-free. So, by doing that, you're going to increase the protein in your diet. But there is no scientific evidence that going gluten-free in a long term will help you.
And
Luckily, as Indians, we don't have that problem of gluten intolerance to a large extent.
so, in the continuation of the same thing, the question is going off gluten food is good for health? Going off gluten is good for health?
Good for those who have gluten intolerance, I would say.
Only for those people who have gluten intolerance. Okay. So there's another question on seed oil. Seed oils are getting bad rep in some literature nowadays. Would you still recommend mustard seed, sesame seed oil, etc.?
So every oil has a different fatty oil composition, correct? Now, the amount of oil used helps in deciding whether it is good or not. So even if it's a seed oil, right, the amount of intake that you consume decides whether it is excess or intake. So I will not throw the seed oils out of one's kitchen. Only thing is you make sure that it is a filtered one. It is not very ultra highly processed or the refined ones. If you take the kachi ghani that we call it still retains the properties of good fats. So you must choose filtered or kachi ghani, as I said, instead of the refined and the crystal clear oils which are undergoing chemical processing. So avoid chemically processed ones.
Ruby, I read you should keep changing your oil also, what you're eating. Once you have sunflower, once you have safflower, and is it true? You should keep changing the oil, what you eat?
So, ma'am, if your intake of healthy fats, whether these are seeds or nuts, then you don't have to worry too much because you're getting good fats, the MUFA and the PUFA from the nuts. If that is limited for some reason, okay, then it is better to use the cooking oil medium very frequently.
Okay.
Again, I would suggest, because every oil is different, but filtered oil of whichever type of oil that you consume.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, this is another question. I go to the gym. The gym instructor tells me that I must have a protein. I must buy a protein powder. I must have it on a daily basis. Is it true? What type of protein powder? And this is a very common question people ask. And there's a lot of controversy related to protein powder, what we get in the market. Yeah. What is it about?
The truth is, yes, every gym trainer will tell you this. That is the truth. That you must, you take weight loss supplements, you take meal replacers, you take protein supplements. Now, ideally, scientifically, what is a protein supplement? A supplement is when you're not able to meet your requirement of protein through food. Suppose if your requirement is 1 gram per kg body weight, if you're 80 kgs, and you are you're a vegetarian, you're eating only 30 grams or 40 grams. Then from 30 to 80, then we need to add a protein supplement because you don't have too many choices, or you are lactose intolerant. Okay, you have food allergies you can't consume, or you can't carry those foods. Then you need to include the ultimate goal of eating protein is to meet your protein requirement of 1 kg per gram body weight. If you are meeting that you don't need to add any protein supplement. But if you're not, then any protein supplement which does not have any ergogenic aids should be taken. When I say ergogenic aids, no creatinine and no weight loss supplements or ingredients inside it. Purely a base supplement, that is a milk-based supplement or a soya or a pea-based supplement. Then it is safe, but not because you're eating also and you're adding that. Adding will make you gain weight. Only when you're not able to meet the protein required.
And is it, as you said earlier, look at the label and see what it contains and all that, it holds good here also?
And I would suggest, it is difficult for a person to know whether it is right or not. Please go back to your doctor or a nutritionist. She will help you in reading the
Yeah.
nutrition label and telling you whether it's right or not. You may get really confused with the label on that product.
Okay. So what about herbal preparation? Does it the herbal preparation have got a role in weight loss? Lot of herbal preparations are there and patients do take that.
Ma'am, that is a quick pill. When patients come to dietitian, they said, "मेरे को एक दवाई दे दो पतला होने के लिए."
पतला
And
होने
when
के लिए
they go
दवाई.
to the doctor, they say, "No, madam, don't give us medicine. Give us the food to reduce weight." Right? So it is a shortcut trying to lose weight, but it doesn't help because these herbal products may have heavy metals or toxins, which
Okay.
may over a period of time may damage your liver and kidneys. So herbal supplements, I don't think, unless the product is clinically approved, used by a clinical dietitian in her practice, do not take any other product which is only marketed by non-professionals, non-qualified dietitians, I would call it as. These are not safe.
Okay. So finally, last question. Is there an ideal diet for PCOS?
Well, there is no ideal diet for anything.
Okay.
As I mentioned, there's no magic diet, but eating a balanced diet with some modifications in a diet, the type of fat, the quantity of fat, the type of protein, the quantity of protein, and the type of carbohydrate, means low glycemic index. Even if you do these changes, this is a PCOS diet. A modified diet of what you eat is PCOS diet, I would say. And
Okay.
it is customized. Your PCOS diet is yours, mine is mine, and hers is hers. Any modification in this, it's your diet.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ruby. I think we are done with the questions. I don't see any more questions coming up. Thank you so very much. And we'll move on to the post poll. The same questions what you all answered earlier will be played again. And please answer them. Melroy, can we have the questions, please? We'll start with the first question. For women, the waist circumference cutoff for obesity is 80 centimeters. She did show a slide. Please remember that and tell us, for women, the waist circumference cutoff for obesity is 80 centimeters. So 100% of the people are telling yes. Ruby, your session has been very good.
All students are passed today.
All students are passed. Look at that. And that's such a beautiful thing. There are many measures for BMI, and looking at the waist circumference is one of them. For obesity, we have BMI and waist circumference. And I think, they've all answered correct. Good, very good. So that's the right answer. So the waist circumference cutoff for obesity is 80 centimeters. So the next question. Simple carbohydrate should be restricted in PCOS women. Simple carbohydrates are the one Ruby said which increases the blood sugar quickly. So should that be restricted in women with PCOS? That's the question. So 100% of them are telling simple carbohydrate should be restricted for PCOS women. We have another 16 seconds remaining. Simple carbohydrates raises the blood sugar quickly. So should we restrict them? Not only in PCOS, in any patient, any person for that matter, simple carbohydrate, should it be restricted? That's the question. Okay. So we have 75% who are telling yes, 25% still telling no. So it's important for us to understand when we take simple carbohydrate, it spikes your sugar level. So any diet which spikes your sugar level quickly, as Ruby showed the graph. Okay, simple carbohydrate and complex carbohydrate. If it is simple carbohydrate, it's going to shoot your sugar level quickly. That is not a good thing. So the answer here is yes. Simple carbohydrate should be restricted, not only for PCOS women, for any woman, for any human being. Simple carbohydrate should be restricted. That's an answer for that. So we move on to the next question. Foods rich in fiber and protein are low in glycemic index. Foods which are rich in fiber and protein, both are good. So they are low in glycemic index. Just think about it. If they contain fiber, if they contain a lot of protein, they are good because they are low in glycemic index. So we have 16 seconds remaining, 14 seconds, 100% so far are telling it is yes. We don't want them to change. We don't want them to change their mind. Let it remain like that, because that's the right answer. That's the right answer. Food rich in fiber and protein are low in glycemic index. That's good. So when you're talking about your food, you take food rich in fiber and also high protein diet. Next question, please. Peanuts, olives, almonds, avocado, walnut, chia seeds are considered as healthy fats. I think this is one question I'm sure everybody will be able to answer right, because we all know that these are good. Everybody knows this. We'll wait and see. Is it going to change or it will remain at 100%? 16 seconds remaining. 14. I think our audience know what they're eating, Ruby.
Yes, correct, ma'am.
Yeah. Beautiful. Very good. Excellent.
People earlier used to get scared of peanuts. Arey, wo khane se cholesterol
Yeah.
बढ़ जाएगा क्या? Now they
Garib ka badam. Nahin, garib ka badam. Garib ka badam. Peanuts. Very good. Excellent. So 100%. Okay. Right. That's the right answer. Next question. So it is recommended to include high glycemic index food for women with PCOS. So we have been harping about glycemic index high and low. And do you recommend a high glycemic index food for women with PCOS? That's the question. Do you recommend or you do not recommend? Do you want the woman with PCOS to eat food with a high glycemic index? That means a food which increases the blood sugar quickly. Do you want the woman to eat like that? Okay, so we have got 75% telling no and 25% are telling yes. Probably they got little confused about this high and low glycemic index. If it is a high glycemic index, increases the sugar level. Anything which increases, spikes your sugar level, that's bad. Understand this, underline this. If it is a high glycemic index, it's not good for you. So in PCOS, we do not recommend a woman to have a food which has got a high glycemic index. Okay, so the answer is no. Next question. Weight training should not be done. It should not be done. That's a question here. Should not be done in order to lose weight. So Ruby had put some questions. Answer this. Think about this. Should it be done or should not be done? The answer they are asking you is should not be done. Is it yes or no? Very good. Okay, now they changed it, come to 25% and 75%. Three seconds, 2 seconds. Okay, we are done. So weight training should not be done. That's a question. Weight training, should it be done or should it not be done? Weight training should be done. Okay, it's very important that weight training must be done. So we did tell about, resistant training. So, which is so very important. Why? Because it improves your lean muscle mass. It helps in losing your fat, increases your metabolic rate. So it's very important to do the weight training. So weight training should not be done. That's a no. The answer is no there. Okay. Next. Last question. Weight loss of 5% help in increasing the chances of conceiving among overweight and obese women. So this is a very common practical tip, what we tell, practical advice, what we give. Should we advise weight loss of at least minimum of 5% to increase our chance of getting pregnant? 100% of them are telling yes. I'm sure they are seeing a good gynecologist, because weight loss of 5% does help. That's what we tell. Let's see if anybody changes their mind and change the statistics. No? Oh, fantastic. So it's so important to understand a weight loss of at least 5 to 10%, we say, a minimum of 5%. You take your weight and calculate 5% of that much, at least the minimum, if you lose your weight, definitely it is going to improve, not only in consumption, it will also, the chance of becoming diabetes is reduced, the chance of getting hypertension is reduced, your triglyceride level comes down, your cholesterol level comes down. So weight loss, we cannot emphasize more in PCOS patients. Please do not take it as like, weight loss is like any doctor will keep on telling, lose your weight. It's not like that. More so in PCOS, this is one of the main treatment what we give is weight loss, lose your weight and come back. We will not give you a treatment till you lose your weight and come back. This is what we tell our patients. So this answer is yes. Congratulations, you answered very well. Thank you very much for submitting your response. And okay, now we will move on to the next part of it. So we are done with today's session. So as we promised you earlier, we are going to come with episode 4. The next episode is going to be on 25th March. And it is between 3 and 4 p.m. Please, all of you, make a note of it. Today we joined at between 7 and 8, but on 25th March it is between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. We have none other than Dr. Durusha, who is a founder president of the PCOS Society of India. She is going to talk about fertility treatment in PCOS. She is going to talk about ovulation induction. She is going to talk about IUI. That's going to be a very, very interesting and important session. We request all of you to log in on 25th March. So at the end, I would like to, thank everyone. First, mainly, I would like to thank Dr. Durusha, who is the president of the PCOS Society of India. She has been the right force behind this whole program. Thank you very much, ma'am. And I also thank Ruby for taking so much of an pain and to prepare the slide and her presentation was so clear and vivid. And I think we learned a lot. I thank Philips also, for supporting this activity. And I thank Vinitha and Melroy for giving us all that support. So I thank you very much. I thank everyone, all the participants for being a part of this program. And let's all, I think, we'll fight together. We'll fight against the PCOS. Let's be a Vijeta. Vijeta means a winner. So let's win this PCOS. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thank you.